back with episode 5 or 6 of the book club. Bit of a break between episodes because I wanted to finish what I was reading, so I actually had something to talk about rather than just, rambling on. But the main update is that I finally finished Moby Dick. I did it. Here's all my little tabs and whatnot. I really liked it. I did. I actually really liked it. My criticisms of the book are that I think that about 30% of the chapters could have been scrapped, especially towards the back end of the book. I particularly didn't really give too much of a crap about the different types of ropes and, the carpenter's life story. Like, I don't think it's necessary. Like, it adds to the story, yes, a little bit, but, I don't need to know the carpenter and blacksmith's life story because he's only in it for 3 pages other than the chapter dedicated to him. So it's stuff like that. It reminds me a little bit Lord of the Ringsy, how there would be like an entire 10 pages dedicated to the history of a sword getting made. I feel like Moby Dick was a lot like that. But I think the actual story and the kind of metaphors that are used in Moby Dick are incredible. Like kind of nothing I've read before. But I think I kind of got lost a little bit in some parts because the language used was so thick and dense, kind of that old Englishy kind of sailor speak. It was a bit hard. So I had downloaded a literary analysis that I read along with it because there was some chapters where it was just so dense in the language and euphemism that I just kind of was like, what am I reading? And so I had to reread it again and then read the analysis, and I was like, oh, that was all it was saying. It was all of that. So I did love it, but will I read it again? Maybe. I'll probably skip all the chapters about terminologies and different whale skeletons and whatnot. And I think that's the biggest criticism I've seen online, is that it's just so much knowledge being given to you, which is kind of irrelevant to the plot. I was a bit sad that the Moby Dick himself was only in it for the last 25 pages. I thought there would be a lot more about, the mythology and lore and, all that kind of jazz about Moby Dick himself, but he was in it for 20 pages and he really didn't have much to say at all. Like, he was built up so much as this, dangerous, evil creature and all that, but you never really learn anything about him at all other than he's just a white whale, which I kind of guess is the point, that at the end of the day, it's just an animal. But, Ahab in the beginning of the book was given this, a lore and mystique that, he was talked amongst the shadows and his story was kind of told between people and whatnot. And when Ahab did arrive, it was this, huge movie moment of, oh my God, this is Ahab. But Moby Dick didn't really have that kind of same thing, even though Ahab and, Moby Dick are kind of connected. I felt a bit disappointed in that sense of the regard, but overall I did enjoy it, and that is going to be the first book I've read this year. It is a massive book. It says here it's only 500 pages or 570 pages, but I think it's actually bigger because of my edition is huge. Like, I'm a bit close to the camera, but this is like a normal book size. So this edition is massive. So I think it's actually more like a normal sized book. I think it's close to like 800 pages or something. But Moby Dick has been finished. I enjoyed it. I like the copy I got. Really recommend getting a copy like this if you see it anywhere. It's really cool. The images I've shown in previous episodes are super, super cool. I saved one because I would flick back and try and, remember what the whales look like. But lots of stuff like that. Update in everyday life. It's really hot today. It hit 45 degrees Celsius in my state last weekend. I think that's like 108 Fahrenheit. So very hot, and it's quite hot today. I think it's around like 101 Fahrenheit. It's really hot. It's a dry heat. Other than that, I made a YouTube short about the mylar that I bought. I'm just gonna open this blind a bit more. About the mylar that I bought, which I'm in love with. Absolutely love it. It's so nice to have, you know, books that are kind of rare, protected a bit more, and it looks really nice. Like, it has a nice feel to it. When I open my books, you know, it's not falling apart and everything. I only did 2 books. I think this is also a first edition. I'll double check, but I only did these 2 books because I didn't want to waste it, because I do have a lot of just like sort of rare books. I think this is a first pressing. I'm not too sure. At minimum, I think it's like a first pressing Australian edition. Either way, mylar wrapped it as a bit of a practice, and it came out perfect. Like, I wrapped this one really well, and I'm really proud of it. I will make a video about how I do it sooner or later when it's not so hot and I can get a good camera set up from the top down. That's actually really difficult to do. But picked up mylar, absolutely love it. In that YouTube short, I think I put the link of where I got it. It's from America. It was quite cheap and it came really quickly. And it's really good quality, super, super easy to install. Even when like my books were a bit bigger or a bit smaller, I just kind of modified it a little bit with just a ruler and just creased it a bit earlier than it should have been. And I love this thing. It's super cool. Update in the reading club. I am not that far into In Cold Blood. I haven't really been reading my physical copy because it's so hot and I've just kind of left it here. I am 50 pages in. I'm still on the first chapter called The Last to See Them Alive. But I plan on reading a bit more soon because I was just so involved with Moby Dick that it was like everything else is out the window. You know, I needed to finish that book. I had to get it done. And it took me so long because I think of the language was so dense, but it's done now, it's over. So I'm going to kind of dive in a bit harder into In Cold Blood. But I'm also reading Suttree by Cormac McCarthy, which is one of my favorite authors. He's kind of this lit bro kind of, you know, author. I'm just going to raise my chair a bit. I got a new chair. I got an Eames chair. You can't see it, but it's really nice. Cormac McCarthy's kind of this, you know, lit bro kind of author, I guess. So he gets a lot of shit for, you know, being the author that a guy, like a dude, will read. But I don't care. I love it. Crossing is one of my favorite books. I actually might reread it this year because I really, really like it. But I've started reading Suttree, and it's been good to get back into McCarthy. His writing style, I forgot how kind of annoying it is to read, but I think once you get started reading McCarthy, you can kind of get it pretty quickly, and I'm back in the rhythm now. I'm like, okay, this is how to read McCarthy's works. But I really like it. I think it's, you know, really good so far. I'm only like a couple, you know, what am I, 50 pages in, so I'm not very far in. I only started reading it yesterday, so this is going to be the one I read next. It was a part of my, you know, list of books I'd like to read this year, and so this is going to be the next one after Moby Dick. I wanted to read Shattenfro, but, you know, I just came off Moby Dick, and that book is massive, and it's dense and packed with knowledge, that I just kind of needed a bit of a fun read to, like, for me mentally, because I'm like, oh, I'm so drained from reading Moby Dick. I just want to read something that's a bit easier to read. And, you know, I haven't read any of the reviews, and I haven't, you know, read too much about it, but this does not come across as something that's easy to read. And, for example, this is Suttree. You know, this is a monster of a book. And I know kind of roughly the plot and what it kind of reads like. It doesn't scream to me like an easy read or like a, you know, a read that I can just pick up and, oh, read a couple pages today. It doesn't come across that to me. So I'm going to put this one off a bit longer. As much as I don't want it, I really want to read it. But I feel like I need to give myself a break or I'll get burnt out and won't read anymore. And so I'm going to read Suttree while I'm reading the book club's book, In Cold Blood. So far, we'll get back to it in Cold Blood. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of in awe of Truman Capote and how kind of far ahead, what would you call him, like a pioneer for the true crime kind of genre. I kind of can't believe that this was written, you know, in the early 60s. And fun fact, he wrote this with the help of Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, which was really interesting to me. They were really good friends, and she tagged along apparently with some of the writing for it. You can tell me I'm wrong in the comments. But I'm just kind of blown away by how far ahead this is. Like, I have a lot of true crime books, mostly about Zodiac, that are very good as well. That I can see how In Cold Blood is this kind of revered and loved book because of just how far ahead of its time it was. You know, for a book that came out in the 60s, it's written exactly like a true crime book is written now. And I'm not too sure if any of it is incorrect or not 100% factual, but I kind of don't care at this point because I'm so enveloped in it that I'm like, this book is just awesome. It's really cool. Like how it's written and everything, and Capote had his finger on the pulse of what people wanted to read and what, you know, what was to come. I kind of want to read more Capote after this. I might read Breakfast at Tiffany's. But I also want to watch the movie because Philip Seymour Hoffman is my favorite actor and he's in my favorite movies. So I'd love to watch him play Capote. So I might watch that after I've read the book so I don't get any spoilers. But I'm on track to finishing this by, I think I said mid-March, maybe end of March. I'm on track, so it'll be done. I think it's going to be a slow bit for a bit, and then when I finish Suttree, I'm just going to slam the rest of this in like a week. Because it's actually quite an easy book to read, you know, it's not hard. But other than that, I think that's about it. I was going to start making bookmarks and then uploading them to like a website where everyone could print them out. But it's been so hot that I haven't really wanted to come into the book room because it's been hot. But I have a whole bunch of like guns and ammo magazines that I picked up, and I was gonna like make a collage of just cool little pictures or whatnot because that's kind of cool. And there's lots of like Western iconography and like Monument Valley. I thought that making like a cool cutout collage of stuff like that would be kind of cool, but that's on the cards sooner or later when it's not so hot. But other than that, I haven't really picked up any new books because I've just been reading Moby Dick and I'm finally done. I feel this whale-shaped weight off my shoulders of having read that and finished it. It's over. So I'm excited to have that done. But I'm also really into Suttree at the moment. So I have this copy. It's not a hardcover. I love a hardcover, but they're really expensive in terms of, you know, Cormac first editions. They're like up there with Blood Meridian. So I'm not too fussed. I got this copy, just a paperback. I don't normally like paperbacks, but it is actually kind of convenient just to chuck it in my bag and not have to worry about it. But that's all I've got for today. Just a quick update to kind of break the 2-week cycle and just to let you know that I'm still reading In Cold Blood. It's very hard, and the Moby Dick is done. It's done. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna do another video probably during the week, or you know, maybe next week, a book tag and an update of Suttree, because I think I'll probably be close to finishing it because it's only 300 and something pages. So that's all I got for today. Love you all. Subscribe, I guess. Thanks, guys.